Welcome, friends. Sorry, this episode or video is being uploaded after almost a gap of more than 3 months because of my personal problems, travel, consultancy, etc. During this period, the people suggested that if there is going to be so much gap between your two videos, then don't make those videos in a seriatim, but make each video independent. So I will try from hereafter each video to be independent, though the link with the earlier concept will be kept in mind. Now, if it suits to my viewers, I will welcome their comments and suggestions. In the last episode, which was episode 7, I had till that time said that if we want the development of the people of a country to take place, for that it is necessary that the production of the goods and services which the people consume should increase, which is called as the GDP growth or the growth rate. To increase the production so that people may consume more, the producers should produce more. Then to increase the production, they need the money or the capital. Now this capital can come by two ways. Either they can put their own money and or they can borrow from others, make use of that in business, and when they get the profit and increase their business, they can return the money which they have borrowed. Now the lender or who is giving the money to these producers or the borrowers, the lender is always, or the investor is always concerned about the safety of his money, that is whether his money will come back or not. Now why his money will not come back? If suppose someone has given the money to the borrower or to the producer, when his money will not come back? When one thing is, no, I am talking about the normal circumstance, not about the fraud or the dishonesty of the producer. I am simply saying there is an honest producer, is doing everything in accordance with the business rule, ethics, and still the money of the lender will not be going back or will not be coming back. Why? When the borrower or the producer's business is suffering losses. Suppose I bring my own money 100 rupees, borrow from someone 900 rupees, I have got 1000 rupees in my business. Now about this 1000 rupees, I create certain assets, and through those assets the income is generated. Now if these assets which I had created, if they suffer the losses, their quality goes down, they are stolen, they are destroyed, then there is a loss in my business. Now, one thing one has to understand, that the loss in one's life or in the business takes place because of one single factor. And what is that factor? That factor is the risk which he takes in his personal life or in his business. If the risk which he is taking, because no risk, no return. Higher is the risk, higher is the return, and always take the calculated risk. This is what is said about the wise people, that they don't take risk like that, they take the calculated risk. Now risk, if you are taking and you are able to manage that risk, you will grow, you will survive, you will grow. But if you take a risk which you are not able to manage, then you may not survive, your business may not survive. Now here the question comes, what is this risk? Because in my classes when I said the same thing, so the conceptual clarity starts from this word risk. Now I am not going to the financial risk only. First we have to understand what do we mean by the word risk. People say so many things. Risk means uncertainty and the potential losses, potential negative. No. Risk is a generic word where everybody in his life is exposed to the risk, whether he is literate, he is illiterate, whether he is an urban or a rural person, whether he is educated, uneducated, whether he is a child or whether he is a grown-up man. Everybody's life is exposed to the risk, and they are surviving and growing. A child who is born, he is having the risk right from, or even before his birth, he is having the risk to his life, whether his delivery will be there, whether he will come out safely along with his mother's life. So everybody suffers the risk in his life from birth till death, and this risk they are managing. A person who is living in the village, does he not suffer from the risk? A child who is going to the school from house, is he not exposed to the risk? He is managing that risk and surviving and growing. Do you think that he is managing that risk by saying that there is a probability and there is uncertainty? No. This formalization and forgetting of the concept is basically at the root of the losses which are taking place in the various financial crises. 2007-8 crisis or many crises, and many banks in India who have suffered a financial issue, it is because they only took so much risk which they could not manage, and they did not understand the risk. For example, when Lehman Brothers failed, do you think they did not have the tools, risk management tools? Yes, they had best financial resources, best human resources, best technological resources. Every input was the best, but output was the worst economic crisis. Why? Because they had so many risk model, this, that, but basically they had forgotten the conceptual or the basic concept of the risk. So before proceeding into any business or even in your own life, you must understand the concept of the risk. Now, what is the risk? Now, I am not going for financial risk or some other type of the risk. I am simply asking what is the word risk means. I give you an example from my personal life. I was studying in a very remote place of the India which is on the border of the India-Nepal border. So I was studying in a very 1950s. I was studying. In those days the things were not so much developed as they are today. So I had a friend, one Mr. Rastogi, who were studying. I studied up to class 5th, and my father got transferred elsewhere, but Mr. Rastogi left the school and he started his business. When I was in Bombay, somewhere in 89, yeah. So I was around 40 years of the age, and I talked to my friend Rastogi. He told him about the Bombay. He had a desire to come to Bombay. He wanted to see the Bombay, and he came back to the Bombay. Bombay people know how difficult the life is there. Mr. Rastogi, when he came, he stayed with me. I was staying in Gokuldham. So in the morning, I was taking a bus which was leaving the bus stop around 8:24 and was reaching Goregaon station, from where I was taking a local train, leaving Goregaon station at 9:40. So when Mr. Rastogi came to Bombay, I said, tomorrow I will take you and I will make you visit Bombay, but you have to be ready in the morning early, and we have to take a bus of 8:24 a.m. These people have never heard the time 8:24 in their life. They are always in the round 8, 8:30, 9, like that. I said 8:24 means 8:24. Anyhow, I dragged him to the bus stop. We got into the bus, got down at Goregaon station, and there I used to have only 2 minutes margin to climb the stairs, go to the platform number 2, and everything is fixed there. The train, the coach, your seat, everything. So there was a huge crowd, I started running and I asked Mr. Rastogi that you follow me. Mr. Rastogi said, all right, I will follow. Manika, there will be a lot of crowd, so you please follow me. So when I was climbing the stairs, I just called, Mr. Rastogi, Rastogi ji, Rastogi ji. There was no response. I was worried because this man is new. He has come from a rural area. He doesn't know anything about the Bombay. If he is lost, then what I will do? So I shouted, Rastogi ji. Then there was a voice, मैं यहाँ हूँ. That means I am here. And the voice came. I looked at where from this voice is coming. The voice was coming from the ticket window. I said, वहाँ क्या कर रहे हो? What are you doing there? He said, I am taking the ticket. I said, no, come. Don't take the ticket and you come. नहीं, मैं नहीं आऊँगा. I won't come. मैंने कहा, why won't you come? No, unless I have got, because I used to have the MST. I forgot that he doesn't have, so he will have to purchase a ticket. But there was no margin. Had I lost had I missed this train of 9:14, everything would have gone disarray. So I got down, dragged him without getting the ticket, dragged him, climbed the stairs, got into the train, and then we were without ticket. I was having MST, Mr. Rastogi was without ticket. He said, नहीं, मैं नहीं आऊँगा. Why did you so? I don't want to take any risk. When Rastogi ji, who has not studied more than 5th class, he is using the word risk. He is not talking about the probability and this and the uncertainty outcome. He was meaning and understanding what the risk is, and he was trying to manage it. Anyhow, when we got down at Churchgate station and we started walking to my office, then I asked, Bolo Rastogi ji, tell, what was the risk you were talking about? He did not answer the way we very highly educated people whose thinking has become so conditioned by our teaching that we don't manage that. He answered not in that educated. He simply asked, agar TT aa jata to, that is, if the TT would have come then. He defined, when I asked what was the risk, he did not say anything, but he defined the risk by the happening of an event that had the TT come. That coming of the TT was the risk. The event of the TT coming was a risk for him, which was correct. Then I asked further question, aa jata to kya hota? Had he come, then what would have happened? He said, you are asking me what would have happened? There would have been huge loss of reputation, loss of money. जेल हो जाती मेरे को, जुर्माना लग जाता, and you are asking कि आ जाता तो क्या होता? Now he is an uneducated person, but he understands the risk very well and manages it so that he does not suffer. He defined the risk where, like the happening of an event which if takes place may cause any type of the loss of reputation, loss of money, loss of life, loss of limb, anything. This is what the concept of the risk is, that when you are undertaking an activity for any purpose, then there is the possibility or the probability of an event or events happening which if take place, then there is the possibility that you may suffer any type of the loss. That is the risk. Here what is happening? The activity is traveling in the train without ticket. It is the activity. During this activity from Goregaon to Churchgate, that activity is continuing. During this activity there is a probability or there is a chance of an event happening. What is that event? TT coming into the coach and asking for the ticket. This is the event which may take place. If that happens, TT comes and he asks for the ticket and ticket is not there, what will be the outcome or the result? Result will be the loss of money, loss of reputation, like that. So risk is basically defined as under, that is when anybody undertakes any activity, then during the course of conduct of that activity there is the possibility of an event or events taking place, which if take place may cause any type of the loss of any type, loss of life, loss of health, loss of money, loss of reputation. I will make it clear through one more example. That is, in Bombay, the people are jumping into the moving train. They are coming out from the from the moving train by jumping out. If my son, when he started going to the college, first day when he was going from Goregaon to Andheri via train, which he never travelled earlier, I said, beta, ek kaam karna, that don't jump into the moving train or move out. He said, why? I said, there is a risk. Now he asked, what is the risk? Should I have told him, oh, the probability, uncertainty? No. I said that when this activity of jumping in or out of a moving train you will be undertaking, then there is a possibility of an event happening. What is that event? Which I am calling it that instead of getting into the train, which is your expected outcome, you may not get into the train, but you may get under the train. Oh, that is what activity you are undertaking, the activity with an expected outcome. But actual outcome, if it deviates from the expected outcome, that is the risk. Going under the train means what? You may lose your life or your limbs. So this is what is the risk. Now, what type of the risks are there? How many type of the risks are there? For example, if a child who is going to the school and I tell, don't cross the road like without ensuring and seeing both the sides. Why? There is a risk. What is the risk? When you are undertaking the activity of crossing the road, an event can take place. What that event? Any moving vehicle can hit you. As a result of that, you may suffer injury or you may lose the life. So that is what the risk. Now, how that takes place in case of the financial sector or otherwise, we will be talking about in our next episode.